it's Jai452 here, and we're back once again inside that closet with cosplay. We're- And look who I've bumped into. It's the one, the only.
What's up, guys? It's Chris Villain here. Oh, yeah!
So Chris has decided to actually sit down with us today and help us kind of like go through this closet of cosplay because it is like so huge. There's so many people here that have kind of ran into us. So my first question to you, Chris, is when did you first start cosplaying?
I first started cosplaying probably, it was around a year, I want to say like 1 year ago.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty new. I haven't been doing it that long. I kind of did a little bit in my YouTube videos before that, but kind of like started doing the convention scene and all of that around a year ago.
Awesome. Do you remember what your first cosplay was?
My first cosplay was a male version of The Little Mermaid, actually.
Which you can also see in one of your videos because you did a
Yeah,
cover song of Part of Your World.
yeah.
Awesome.
It's fun stuff.
Um, who or what inspired you to cosplay?
You know what? I get asked that question a lot, and I honestly find myself reaching for an answer. I don't know exactly what. Or I don't think there's a particular person. I feel like it was more so like kind of just like the love of my love for Disney and the love for like animated characters and just kind of like wanting to express that through cosplay. And so I slowly kind of just found myself doing it. I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, well, obviously Disney is still going strong, so I don't really need to ask a sub question there. What has been the most challenging cosplay that you've ever done? And I'm gonna break this into two like kind of sub questions
Sure.
from an acting standpoint and
Okay.
from the making of the costume.
Ooh, okay. I want to
Let
say
let's start off with the kind of the acting standpoint because like
sure.
some people always think that that's a kind of harder one to answer.
Yeah. I want to say from an acting standpoint, probably, and it sounds weird, but I want to say Spider-Man just because it has like such a strong fan base and like such strong expectations that I get like nervous. I'm like, oh no, I hope I don't like ruin Spider-Man for people. Um, and it's also some people like Spider-Man to talk when he's in costume, and like other people don't like, and so it's just like there's a lot of expectation that come with Spider-Man, which is cool, and it's I always like a good challenge, so I'm gonna say Spider-Man for
Awesome.
acting.
And
Um,
for the making of the costume,
Costume is definitely hands down. I did a male version of Maleficent that was kind of a nightmare to make, but totally worth it because the it turned out great. But the whole process, so it was like making the costume was a lot, and then like putting it together and like getting ready day of was just crazy. But it's still to date one of my favorites, so I'm glad I did it.
awesome. In your opinion, what is the most difficult thing or character to cosplay as? And this is like a general kind of question.
Sure. I it's kind of a vague answer, but I want to say like the most difficult thing to cosplay as is a character with such like one of those solid fan bases because as a cosplayer, like I get a lot of joy when people come up to me and like, oh my gosh, you look just like so and so, and like you did it so much justice, and like that's important to me because if you're a fan of any given character, it's my job to make you like freak out over like my cosplay, and so I think anything with like a really strong fan base or anybody that's like really obsessed with like any given character is probably you got to be careful, man.
Um, so when you've been like going to these kind of cosplay events, there's obviously over in America, which is kind of like where you are. There's the big ones and such likes. But there's also kind of like smaller local ones,
Yeah.
which is similar to here in the UK. Um, Which one do you prefer going to? Do you prefer going to the big, huge event ones, or do you prefer the smaller, more local ones?
It's such a good question, and I feel like me and my friends, there's like really really small ones that are always like super nice because, at least in the U.S. here, there's really small ones that are like in like a hotel lobby or something, and I love going to those because they're a lot more intimate and a lot. You get to see your friends and stuff, and actually get to see everybody because at these big ones you kind of get lost. But then there's kind of like I've been to some that are kind of in like this middle gray area where it's like it's bigger than these hotel lobbies, but it's not like San Diego Comic-Con. I
Hmm.
feel like I kind of enjoy those the most because it's a nice combination of you get to meet a lot of new people that you've never met before, and it's also not big enough to where you get completely lost and don't get to see your friends. So probably somewhere in the middle. I like.
Awesome. Um, so what is one of the more interesting things that has happened to you while you've been at a Comic Con? Now, this can be something that was like totally unexpected that just kind of wow, or something really, really funny that happened.
I want, me and my friends, I think it was our first kind of like convention that we left our Southern California area for, but we went to SAC Anime, which is in Sacramento, and we were kind of just going to see like what's up, and I'm like the big phone case is Pikachu. And so we were like all dressed up as Pokemon, like human versions of Pokemon
Hmm.
that day. And we totally bumped into the original voice of Ash Ketchum, and I almost passed out.
Oh my
Like,
God.
yeah, it was amazing. And it was like a very much one of those moments where like the little kid version of me was totally freaking out.
I've actually got a really good story for you on that one. The first like big Comic Con I went to, or like my first ever Comic Con I went to,
Yeah.
I was dressed as a male version of Harley Quinn. And
Okay, nice.
as you can imagine, like I was like one of the only kind of almost like true to the character
Sure.
look ever there that was a guy. So everybody was like kind of stopping me like every 5 minutes going, "Can I get a picture with you?"
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure, 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 sure." Um, but I managed to work my way round from the entrance to where some of the celebrities were.
Uh-huh.
And the woman that does Ash Ketchum's voice was actually there.
No!
Yeah, she was here in the
I
UK,
swear!
and she wasn't at her like podium at the time,
Oh, okay.
but there was other celebrities like the boy from The Hobbit was there,
Okay.
Jamie Bell, I think it is.
Okay. Okay.
He was there, and some Doctor Who people were there. Well, obviously being in the UK, there's always going to be somebody from Doctor Who. Um, a couple of wrestlers were there, and people from Game of Thrones were there.
Oh,
And
nice.
Robert England was actually there as well, and one of the girls from the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, so those are
And
pretty on.
yeah, we had quite a few celebrities at that one, and I remember like going around to look to see all the celebrities that were there, and she wasn't there, but I noticed her name and what it was she did, and I was like, oh, all right, that's really really cool. I'll need to come back when she's here and try and talk to her because like a few people I know like Pokemon, and I know they'd appreciate that because I was
Yeah.
live streaming from that event.
Oh, nice.
Um, so we go around, we do our stuff, and we try to get back to the celebrities. And
Uh-huh.
a queue, like the almost the entire length of
No.
the stadium that we were in. And
Get out of here. That's crazy.
I was like, oh my God, because I felt really bad for every other celebrity that was
Yeah.
either A around her or B above her because nobody had the line that she did.
Yeah. Wow.
Nobody. And I was
I,
like, that
it's
that's
Pokemon's
insane.
pretty nostalgic. So I can see where she has like a crazy fan base. But yeah, she was so nice. She's like the nicest person ever.
I really wanted to go up and speak to her, but obviously with a line that large, I wouldn't have gotten like the amount of time that I wanted with her.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, sorry
Maybe.
guys, you're just maybe next time. Maybe if she comes back over, I'll catch her
Sure,
again.
sure.
Doubtful, but okay. Um, but yeah, that was insane. I really did feel bad for like the other celebrities as well because it was just like you've got those Game of Thrones people there, and Game of Thrones is very popular, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I was expecting a lot of people to go and see them, and they're like nobody around them, and I'm like,
I love it.
we're Game of Thrones people. Um, so my next one's a really interesting question, and it is a little bit of diversity.
Okay,
Over here in the UK, um, cosplaying is still a relatively new thing.
sure.
So it's kind of unusual to see like a lot of different age groups doing it. There's
Uh-huh.
always normally some kind of like weird set age group.
Gotcha.
Um, but I've started to see more and more young children, like almost babies cosplaying,
Uh,
and then like mums and dads cosplaying with them.
yeah, yeah.
Is that something that you see a lot of over in the States? You see a lot of like different age groups for
You
cosplay?
know, I feel like, and it's very similar here. I feel like cosplay used to be kind of like this like weird thing that like some people did, and like it was very kind of like not mainstream. And I want to say in the last few years, it's become a lot more mainstream here in the States. And yeah, I actually have a lot of my friends. We have like a group of friends that we always like do group cosplays with, and we have our honorary kid in our group. Her name is Miley, and she's a sweetheart. But she always tackles like the smallest person in the group, or like the cute little animal in the group or something. And yeah, her parents love her. Her parents cosplay too. I think it might be like a generational thing. I don't know,
Mm.
but I'm so glad that it's becoming more mainstream.
The reason I asked that is because, like, just before I started cosplaying, I remember looking on Facebook for inspiration and different things, kind of thing. And I seen this picture of a woman who had just turned, I think it was either 100 or 90.
Oh dang.
Like she said, there was a caption with the picture, and it's like most people when they like turn a certain age, they want this for their birthday or that for their birthday. And all she wanted to do for her birthday was she didn't want to spend it with her family. Like, psh, I'm not going to spend it with your family. Psh, whatever. She wanted to go to Comic Con,
Oh
and
my
she got
god.
to do so. But she didn't just want to go to Comic Con. She wanted to go as her favorite comic book character,
Oh
which
my
was
gosh.
Wonder Woman.
Yes! I
And
love that.
if you scroll down on that picture, you actually see her in a Wonder Woman outfit with a walking frame.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I honestly, I don't know what age she is, and I don't want to offend anyone in case I get it wrong. Like, I'm
Sure.
pretty sure it's like 90-ish.
Sure. It was up there.
Yeah. But I thought, what better tribute to the actual comic book character Wonder Woman and the descendants of the person who made her, to
Yes.
have a woman who's practically been around for the entire existence of said character and has
Yeah.
probably seen every incarnation of her dressing as her. And I was like, that is just, it's so great.
That's
So,
so
so great.
epic. I
I
love that.
know. So yeah, that's kind of why I bring that question up. It's like, have you guys ever seen anyone that
I
age
mean,
going out and doing it?
I've been to some what seem to be like on the older um on the older end of like people cosplaying, and I think it's great because there's so many characters that actually are older that they like fit into, and so it just like, oh my gosh, we need a picture, like it's so good. I love it. I love it.
I think it's like a lot of people over here, because I mentioned Doctor Who earlier, so I'll kind
Yeah.
of go with that. A lot of people over here, when they get to a certain age, say, "Okay, I've reached that age. I can
Sure.
now cosplay as Doctor from
Yeah.
or the 12th Doctor from blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, that's really great because then they have something to cosplay as.
Yeah, I think it's so awesome. I always bump into I'm horrible and I don't follow the series too well, but
I don't either, and I live here.
um there's a character that I see all the time who's an older guy, but he's in Dragon Ball Z, which is an anime. It's like that old man with like the turtle
Oh,
shell bag.
Master Roshi.
Yes, Master Roshi, thank you. I was
See,
like, I don't
guys?
know why.
See, guys? I get so much, you wouldn't believe this, but I get so much flack for not playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Really?
Yeah, I got so much flack about it because I was like, okay, guys, I've got a kind of heavy gaming load as it is, so I can't
Yeah.
play it. And they're like, why are you not playing it? Why are you not playing it?
Like, calm
Um,
down, everybody. I'll get there eventually.
yeah, it's like I watched one of the series, and I have like somewhere in my room I have this like Korean book that was made by the same people who made the manga.
Oh, so there you go.
So it's not like I'm completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I see a lot of Master Roshis at conventions that are like perfect age, perfect look, and it's great. I love it.
that is great. Um, okay, so there is actually one thing in terms of cosplay that I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
It is your Teen Titans kind of photo shoot.
Yeah.
I'll admit to you this, okay? Um, on my old PC because I'm currently like on a newer PC.
So
I had a picture of you, but I didn't know it was you at the time.
yeah, I love
Um,
it.
it was the one with you and Raven, and you are both like kind of like sitting side by side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just, that is an amazing Beast Boy, like all
Thank you.
together. And for me to say that, like for me to just kind of say that is a great Beast Boy, or any DC character, that is a huge thing, and my friends will tell you that because
I appreciate.
I'm a DC fanatic,
Yeah.
like absolute fanatic. Um, and then when I started recently on Instagram, I was like, why does he have these pictures? You know, and I'm like flicking through them, going, why does he have these pictures? And then the penny dropped. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I understand it completely now. That's him. Um,
Yeah.
so take us through the process of that because, like, I seen these and I was like, partly you were the reason why I decided to pick a DC character for my first cosplay. So I was like, okay, if I ever get the chance, I need to sit and pick their brain about that. So
Yes, absolutely. That means so
take us.
much to me.
That's
So
great.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. So take us through the process. Like, what made you pick Beast Boy?
Beast Boy's always been a character that I really liked because I feel like we have very similar personalities, which is kind of like a weird, quirky personality that you don't come across within every character. And so I was like, I like Beast Boy. I want to cosplay him. But it was something I was hesitant on doing because I hadn't seen a cosplay version of him that I really liked. And so um, me and my friend who is Raven, her name
Hmm.
is Elizabeth Rage, who's also an amazing cosplayer.
She is.
Yeah, she's crazy. We sat down and it was kind of like, okay, so this is what we want to do. How are we gonna recreate this in a way that we're gonna be happy with, you know? And so it came down to kind of like doing like giving a nod to the cartoon version, obviously, but kind of taking it to a more realistic kind of place. Because a lot of the versions that we were seeing were kind of just straight cartoon cosplays, which are great, but we kind of wanted to do like go the extra mile and do something a little bit more. And so she is a master of sewing. And so I was like, okay, this is what I want. I can't do this by myself. I need you to help me. And so she sat down and we pulled my costume together and then I helped her with hers. But I think the main thing for me for Beast Boy is the makeup because it's kind of something that can make or break any cosplay, really. Like if your makeup doesn't look amazing, then you can go from like here to here, you know.
Hmm.
But I'm actually now work with a company. They're called European Body Art, which kind of sounds really intimidating. And it was the first time, actually, the picture that you were meant time that either of us had ever used an airbrush.
Really?
Uh, yeah, but it's just like it's something that like it seems so intimidating, and we were like, "There's no way." Like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but it turns out that it's just like it's so easy. Like once you just like sit and kind of mess with it, you're just like, "Oh, I could do this." And so, yeah, but Beast
Oh,
Boy is still to date probably my favorite. Probably my favorite cosplay.
do you know the one picture? I've just kind of remembered it. I mentioned the one with you and your friend is Raven.
Yeah.
But the first one I had of like you, solely is Beast Boy is the one where you're like pulling this kind of crazy face.
Yeah.
And I remember I don't know what it was I was doing. I think I just like typed in Teen Titans cosplay into Google, and
Sure.
that was the first one that I kind of seen that I liked. I was like,
Oh,
oh, that is so Beast Boy, to pull that kind of face, and I was like, there's no way that I would forgive myself if I just kind of like overlook that picture altogether.
yeah.
Um, and the creepy thing is like this is me fanboying out right now, guys. So Chris is like one of my like most favorite cosplayers ever. So
Love you. Thank you.
you're welcome. Um, okay, so the creepy thing is like every kind of DC picture that I have, which is a lot, I have it on a rotation for my desktop background.
Okay.
And yours does kind of pop up every now and then, and I'm like, ah, yay, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. So yeah, that was like really amazing. Um, okay, so we're getting kind of sidetracked here,
I
but
you're a mess. So
fanboy moment. Um, okay, so when you've been going to cosplay events, have you ever entered into what's called over here, and I don't know whether it's called the same thing over there, but the cosplay masquerade, which is basically the big cosplay competition.
yeah, they also are called masquerades over here as well.
Ah, okay.
Um, but yeah, me and Elizabeth, we entered into one for the D23 Expo, which is like the big Disney one.
Uh-huh.
And we actually won first place and super excited about it. We rebuilt. I don't know if this is something you guys are familiar with in the UK, but uh, there's a ride at the Disney parks over here called the Matterhorn, which is like a big mountain that you like race through on like bobsleds and stuff. And you're kind of like throughout the ride being chased by like an abominable snowman, like this big yeti.
Uh-huh.
And so we thought it'd be really cool because it's such like a random, like I guess Disney character. We're like, what if we rebuilt the Yeti? And so, being the crazy people we are, we built this like 9-foot Yeti and ended up placing first. And so now we are going to actually in June we're going to Hawaii for our prize, which is pretty cool.
If that kind of like goes alongside with what I was about to ask you, um, when you've been entered into these kind of competitions, have you ever won anything? So yes, you have.
Yeah.
Um, and what was like running through your head when you got called up?
You know, it's crazy because you go on such like an emotional journey putting together any cosplay. Um, and me personally, I'm kind of like a quality stickler about things, and so I go like try to go and be above and beyond to get everything exactly right, and then you get up there with all these other people, and you realize that like, wow, all these people have gone through like the same kind of like hard work and like effort to put together their costumes, and so it comes to a point where it's almost like you kind of don't care if you win, and if you do win, it's awesome, but it's more kind of like we're all there like honoring kind of like the art of what we do. It sounds so cheesy, but but it kind of becomes more of like, oh, how'd you make this? Like, how long did it take? And everybody has their own tricks, and so it's kind of cool just to go and I guess kind of like celebrate it. But when you do get called, it's pretty awesome. To answer
I
your question.
remember doing like the first thing, like the first masquerade that I did, I remember going up there and I was so scared. Like
Yeah, yeah.
on the surface, I was absolutely fine. You know, like
Sure.
if you to look at me, you'd be like, there's somebody who's ready to go up on stage. Internally, I was like, ah!
Totally freaking out.
Like, oh, like, where do I walk? How do I walk? How do I pose? How do I do this? Do
Yeah,
I say anything?
yeah,
And
yeah.
they like when I registered to do it, they were like, "Do you want a microphone or a routine?" And I'm like, "Was I supposed to have a routine?"
You're like, I don't know.
Um, and the one thing that scared me the most is the woman who was in front of me was wearing these insanely large high heels. Like that was the heel
Oh no.
on her shoe.
Oh no.
And I'm like, she was so much taller than me as well. Like I'm only what 5'8" maybe. So
Same,
I'm not
same.
altogether tall. And this woman, like easily without her heels on, like without this heel, was much taller than me. And I was like, please, for the love of God, don't fall on me.
Please, please, for all that's right, don't follow me.
Mm. I was just like, please, like if the worst should happen, let this poor woman fall forward. Now,
If you must fall, just
just go that way. Go that way. Don't
I
go
love it.
this way. Go that way.
Yeah.
Um, and oddly enough, she went on to claim like second place, I think, which was
Okay,
good
now.
because she really did put a lot of work into her costume.
Sure.
And she was wearing, do you know those contact lenses that you get that like they color out like the
Whole eye.
no, just like where you're, you know, the
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
it makes that bit completely white.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and she told me, like, because I spoke to her while we were waiting to go on stage, and she said, I can only really wear these contact lenses for like 6 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And then they start to like really irritate the eye. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so you're telling me you're telling me you're in killer heels because her feet were killing her as well.
Yeah.
Your eyes are going to also kill you, and you've got a
Perfect.
costume that could kill somebody else.
So you're a walking weapon right now. Perfect.
Pretty that and the fact she was carrying this massive big weapon as well. And I'm like, can I hire you as security? You know,
I love it. Can you protect me, please?
yeah, just make sure I get to the stage and then get off it, you know. Um, but yeah, I was totally scared of her, and at the same time, I was like, oh, thank God. She was actually a really nice person, really nice
Awesome.
person. Um, but yeah, like going up on stage, I was so scared, and it wasn't until I did a smaller, like more local Comic Con that I
Sure.
was much more relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I think it was because it was a smaller Comic Con, I was more relaxed. It's like I really see an exit, and I can clearly get to it if I need to.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
You know?
And the smaller ones are much more. They're much more like less stressful,
Mm.
kind of just more relaxed. So yeah, I love that.
I think one of my more favorite, like smaller ones, was a Halloween one that I did.
Okay.
Um, my friend and me decided to do Joker and Harley again. And we decided, okay, we gotta mix it up a little bit because it's Halloween. He went with a zombie Joker,
Nice.
and I did. I'm pretty big into The Nightmare Before Christmas, and
Yeah.
I'd actually watched it the night previous, and
Okay.
I was like sitting in my room, just kind of like twiddling my thumbs, thinking, right, I'm looking at my costume and I'm going, how can I change this up enough to make it different for tomorrow?
Sure.
And I'd already sent a t-shirt that I had off to a friend of mine so that she could alter it. So I called her up while watching The Nightmare Before Christmas and was like, you know that t-shirt I sent you for altering? Can you like cut it open, white patches in it?
Uh huh.
And I think I've actually got it here somewhere. I'll show you it when we're done.
Okay.
Um, so like put white patches in it and then stitch it together like really badly. And she's like,
Okay.
yeah, sure, no problem. So she brings it to me. Actually, sorry, it was like a day before the Comic Con. No, sorry, 2 days before the Comic Con. Yeah, 2 days? 2 days. So she brings it to me a day before the Comic Con and I look at it. It's like awesome. And then when I
Nice.
actually went, I did my usual Harley makeup
Uh-huh.
and then started painting stitches like down the
Okay.
sides of my face. And
Nice.
I actually did a kind of patchwork Harley Quinn.
Nice. That sounds cool.
It really was fun. But the fun, like the sad but funny thing was, me and my friend like did the walking around the area kind of thing, and there was this
Uh-huh.
little kid, and he was obviously either tired or restless because
Sure.
it's a long day for small children.
Sure.
And he's up in his mum's hands, like arms, and he's kind of like here, and we kind of just go like this at him and
Oh
kind of
no.
look. And I did it at first because like I have a background with children and whatnot, and I'm like trying to make him laugh.
Sure.
Um, and he just kind of like, I was like,
Wasn't
okay,
happening.
okay. I just went, okay, not happening, fine. My friend goes like that at him,
Oh
and he
no.
has these like prosthetics things on his face.
Oh no.
The child loses it, like literally loses it, like
I-
screams the entire place down, like starts crying
no.
everywhere. And my friend felt really, really bad. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. He's obviously just tired. It's not your fault. Even the
Yeah.
mum said, it's not your fault. He's just tired. It's nothing
Yeah.
against you. And hello to I Am Vengeance, I Am the Night. You're apparently playing Final Fantasy. Thanks to Steam for telling us. I don't know. I should maybe disable my Steam sometimes. Um, So yeah, we kind of walk off and we do our thing. We do the masquerade, and I noticed this little a different little kid who's dressed up like it's kind of like a ladybug onesie type thing,
Okay.
but it was like fat. Like
Okay.
the kid wasn't fat. Like the
Sure.
costume was kind of
Gotcha.
yeah. And I was like, oh, I have to go up to that little kid, and he was actually the brother or younger brother of a little boy who did a little Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I have to go up to that child. I have to go up. So I kind of tentatively, knowing what happened with the last child, go up
Sure.
to him. And I just went like that at his stomach. And I was like, the whole time I was like, please don't cry. Please don't cry. Please don't cry. Kid just burst out laughing. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Um, again, that shows, for me, it shows diversity in like people doing cosplay. And I said to them, Mum, why didn't you enter this one in as well? And she's like, oh, I meant to, but I forgot. And I was like, ah, next
Come
time,
on.
next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, so when you're at Comic Cons and different things, what is the one thing that you're most excited about and the one thing that you find most nerve-wracking?
Usually a lot because a lot of my friends do cosplay as well, and so following them on social media, I get kind of like progress pics of like what they're working on, but they'll be like, "Oh, I can't tell you because it's a surprise." And so I'm usually most excited to like see what they're cosplaying, or if I know what they're cosplaying and they've kind of given me progress pics to kind of like see how it turned out and be like, "Oh my gosh, it looked great." That's always really exciting for me. Something that I am most worried about is probably my own cosplay falling apart. Because anybody who cosplay knows the struggle. Usually you stay up until like if you even sleep the night before, your your costume is still like in pieces and you have to pose certain ways to hide certain things, and so usually it's that my own cosplay will fall apart.
The whole thing about things falling apart, I totally get that. I
Yeah.
really, really do. Um, and I've got a funny story to share with you on that one. I don't really tend to worry about my costume falling apart as
Uh-huh.
such because I can't sew like I can't sew to save myself, so I can pay somebody else to do it for me. I'm quite a big I'm quite a skilled artist, so I sketch out what I want and I tell it,
Okay.
okay, this is what I would like if we can get somewhere close to this.
Yes.
Can we do this? And she's like, well, you don't have the body for that. And I was like, I can get the body for that. Don't worry about
Forget about that. Just do it.
it. Just see if we can get something that looks like this. Um, so I don't worry about that. But when it comes to props,
Okay.
like, oh my God, props are insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
agree.
and this kind of like borders on my next question for you is props, yay or nay? Um, I have like when I do Harley, I have a hammer,
Okay.
which I made myself,
Yeah.
and the way that it's fully made out of cardboard, but which is from what I'm being told, cardboard is one of a cosplayer's favorite things to use when making a prop.
Yeah. That I can back that.
Um, I was very like this will show you how inexperienced I was. Like when I made my hammer for my first big event, I didn't secure the lids.
Okay.
So one of the lids on the actual head of the hammer was staying on fine. The other
Sure.
one kept falling off.
Oh
So I
no.
was like walking around the place and I would just hear this kind of loud,
Like perfect. It fell off again.
yeah, and I had to like turn around and people started actually picking it up and handing it to me.
Bless them.
And I was like, thank you so much. You know.
Yeah.
And then when I got home that night, I was like, okay, so I'm going to be doing this character again. Where the hell is my like super glue or PVA glue?
We gotta fix
And,
this.
and glued the hell out of this and was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh." So the
Oh,
hammer was like secured on.
yeah.
Um, so when it comes to props, do you make your own or do you buy them? And when it comes to going to a big comic photo shoot, what kind of prop sizes do you prefer to have for them?
Do you know what? Usually I like to make all my own stuff just because um even if it isn't the best at the end of the day, I feel proud because like I made it. uh, but there I mean there's some things that I either don't have the skill to make or that it's just more practical just to like just buy, you know. Like I do a Suicide Squad version of Harley Quinn from the new movie. Where like obviously I'm not gonna whittle a baseball bat, so like I'm gonna go buy a baseball bat for that. But like all the markings and stuff I'll do. So usually I like to make it. As far as prop sizes for photo shoots, and I feel like if you're doing like a private photo shoot kind of thing, you have a lot more um, leniency on like getting away with like a massive prop just because there aren't 50,000 people like running around, you know. Because if you bring like a bigger prop to one of these Comic Cons, and if you've never been, there's usually like a bunch of people running around, and if you're carrying around a big prop, it can be a very long day. So I usually like to kind of stay on the smaller end of props for and huge is fine.
Um, so you say that you make your own props and it's kind of like photo shoot, you go with a bigger one.
Yeah.
Would you advise that for people like
I
when
mean,
they're going to Comic Cons and such like?
I would say definitely for Comic Cons, stay with the smaller end of props just because it'll be an easier day for you. It'll be less stressful. I mean, and then for photo shoots, it's kind of just like whatever works for your character. You know, if your character does have a massive prop, then obviously for photo shoot you have that freedom to bring it or whatever. And let's say your character only has like a massive prop and you're going to a con, then maybe you can like bring a smaller version of that prop or something, you know, just so you would acknowledge the fact that you have it, but it's just not as massive.
Awesome. Okay, so what are the top 5 funniest things that have happened to you while you've been in cosplay?
Okay,
And if you
top
can't get
five.
5, we'll go with 3.
Okay, I want to say. Well, beside that, there was a day. Actually, this is my favorite. It was our first cosplay. It was when I was the guy version of Ariel. My friend Elizabeth, who's like my cosplay ride or die partner, she was doing a female version of Hades from Hercules.
Ah.
Yeah, and we hadn't done a makeup test yet, and it was the morning of, and we're like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll just do it. And so we had like this little thing. It was, I kid you not, like this big of like the kind of blue skin color that Hades' skin is, and it was just, it turned out, long story short, it just turned out to be like a complete mess. And there was like blue paint everywhere and it just didn't look good. And we're like, what are we going to do? Because we had like 4 mental breakdowns. And then we kind of just powered through. But once we finished and we got to the convention, it turned out looking really good. And so it was kind of a good lesson for us to kind of like, even though we were both like almost crying and just a mess, that we worked through it and it turned out good. That was pretty. It was a funny day. If you see pictures, I think I posted them of like throughout our day of like what we went through. It's pretty funny. That's one. I want to say, another one might be. Oh, here's a good one. This is actually not that funny, but it's weird. It was actually not too long ago at Long Beach Comic Expo here in California. And I was dressed as my guy version of Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. And I was just leaving my house. Like, I'm pretty sure I just pulled out of the driveway and turned around the corner. And this car had, like, ran a red light and, like, totaled the car that I was in, which is horrible. But I think it's funny because I had to, like, get out of the car in, like, full costume, looking like a complete maniac. And I was like, So, and then the police showed up and I just looked like a crazy person. So, I mean, it was pretty funny looking back on it. But everybody was okay. Nobody got hurt. But yeah, the car had seen better days. That was pretty good. That's one of the better ones. Unless I need one more, right? We can do 3.
We can do 3.
Okay, one more. I would say is. I mean, it happens to me all the time, but usually, like with more popular characters, I've gone up to like a lot of people at conventions thinking they're my friends because my friend is dressed as that same person and like, oh, hey, what's up? And like give them hugs or something. And they turn and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were somebody completely different. But that's always good. That's funny.
Oh, I think like one of the funniest things, um, in a past interview that I've done, a friend's other friend was dressed as Loki from the
Okay,
Thor movie,
sure.
and he's doing like a skit on this kind of like balcony type thing. And
Okay.
he's like, "You shall bow to me, mortals." And I said to the person that I was interviewing, had that guy ever to say that to me as I was walking past, I would probably say something like, if it didn't work for you in the movie, it's not going to work for you here, and just keep walking. Just like
Sure.
give him that massive burn, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and the funny thing was, at that point in time, the only character I had cosplayed as was my male Harley. So
Okay.
I imagine myself as my male Harley walking past saying something like derogative like that to him,
Yeah.
which is like, if you know me, that is so not me. Like I'm
Yeah.
probably one of the nicest people ever. Like
But
not
you're in character. You're in character, so you have to.
exactly. Um, I remember actually doing a photo shoot as well,
Uh-huh.
and it was with my cosplay partner in crime
Uh-huh.
who was doing the Joker, and the photographer got us both standing at the top of a set of stairs,
Okay.
and he said to the guy, like my friend, he said, "Why don't you pick him up?" And I
Uh-huh.
was like, Why don't he not pick me up?"
How about no?
Yeah. Um, And then he's like, no, 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 you should like totally pick you up. And I said, well, I should totally hit you in the head with this mallet, but that's not going to happen. Um, but he did actually pick me up not long after that, and it was a very good photo. But it's one of those photos that I'm like, hmm.
Whatever. What do you-
um, but it is a nice photo, but at the same time, it's one of those photos that I kind of look at myself and kind of go, I really don't like the way I look in that photo.
yeah, yeah,
Because everybody has one of those photos. I just happen to
absolutely.
have that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, in your opinion, what are the best and worst things a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to do a cosplay event?
I think the best thing a new cosplayer can do is kind of just like, and this is almost aside from the cosplay itself, is it like just fully prepare yourself for a very, very long day. I don't think new cosplayers understand kind of just how tiring it could be running around a convention all day and um, not preparing yourself and even your cosplay to kind of just kind of like be thrown through the ringer and you know always have an emergency kit and all of that stuff. That's probably the best thing you can do is just fully prepare for the day. And I want to say the worst. It sounds again. I'm like full of cheesiness today. Apparently, I want to say the worst thing you can do is kind of like just not have fun. Because you go to these conventions to like meet new people and like meet friends and um, experience just have the convention experience. And so if you go with kind of like a closed mind and like are upset about your costume or whatever, then it's kind of just destroys the whole point. So yeah, I want to say not having fun.
Have you had any cosplays that you wished you'd done differently?
I know there's one, but I can't think of it. There's one that I wish there was like I think it was like a half effort one. Oh, you know what? It was I do a guy version of Snow White, which I have found it's weird because it's not necessarily want to do it differently, but I've found that it does better the cosplay in kind of like a photo shoot atmosphere.
Hmm.
So I could post a picture and be like, "Hey, this is my male version of Snow White." Because in person, it doesn't register as that. I guess I don't know. People don't understand like what I am, and so they're like, "Oh, who are you? What? I don't understand where you're from." And so I always like, and where I'm like, "What can I do to make people realize who I am?" But
Mm.
I've just found like, you know what? It's just not a convention costume. Like it's a perfect photo shoot costume, but it's not a convention one.
I think like you were kind of mentioning that people don't really kind of like they look at it and they go, "Well, who are you?" I've actually had the reverse of that happen to me.
Uh huh.
Like, I remember earlier saying to you that I didn't realize it was you that did Beast
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
Um, I remember showing my grandmother a picture of me as Harley Quinn,
Uh huh.
and the first thing she said to me was, "Now, oh, you look so great with your hair blonde. Like
Uh
you suit being blonde, like fair haired." And I was like, I don't know how to take that.
huh.
um, because at that point I'd spent so many years with my own natural hair color, and she's like,
Sure.
"Your hair's so great, it's blonde," and I'm like, "Thanks, Gran."
Thanks. That's great.
Yeah. And most people like when I show them that picture, they immediately go, "Oh, you're Harley Quinn, awesome!"
I
And
love it.
like when you say, like that's another thing when you show them a picture, they don't instantly think it's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, that's got to be somebody else. Like that's not you." And I'm like, "I
I
can
get that.
guarantee that is me. I was
I
there
get
when
that
I."
a lot too. Like if I'm showing pictures of myself to people, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not you." I'm like, "Well, who is it then?" Because I'm pretty sure that's me.
Have you ever done what I did once, which was, no, it's my identical twin who's decided to go out for the day?
Wait, you have a twin?
No, 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 no. I'm saying, like, have you ever done that where you say, no, it's my
Oh,
evil identical twin? get a
Funny,
picture taken.
I just let my twin dress up today.
Yeah, my twin decided to go
I
out.
love it.
So, my second to last question would be, what opportunities has cosplaying presented for you personally? Like, because for some people, they've via cosplaying able to do their own YouTube channel dedicated
Sure.
to cosplay. Other people have had the opportunity to do voice acting
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
various things. And of course, I think you'll know of Harley's Joker and Joker's Harley, how
Yeah.
big their empire is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Joker's Harley has actually moved into doing other things from cosplay because I think of his status in cosplay. Um, so what opportunities has cosplaying presented you?
I feel like I guess in my cosplay career, I'm like just now getting to the point where I am seeing kind of like some opportunities being presented. Right now, it's mostly come in the form of like these kind of like sponsorships kind of things, and so like the company that I use, their airbrush makeup, I mentioned them earlier. Uh, I'm now like partnered with them, and so I get like free makeup, like free airbrush makeup, which is awesome. Um, and a lot of like, I don't know if you guys have anything like this in the UK, but like out here in the US, like Loot Crate or like kind of like these
We
boxes.
Loot Crate does. I think they're like a global thing because our head guy over at iGame Online, hi Whisper, he got like Loot Crate sent to him for a bit, and I think he
Okay,
still is actually doing that.
nice.
Um, and we were very fortunate to get some of the things from Loot Crate, and in fact, um, this little guy here is a Loot
Yeah,
Crate exclusive
nice.
that Whisper had actually gotten sent on to me because he knows that
So,
I'm a DC nut.
yeah. Um,
So yeah, that's awesome. Like Loot
I feel
Crate.
like and there's a lot of like so there's like Loot Crate and then there's very similar companies like that are smaller that are kind of like hey if we send you a free box can you give us like a shout out or something so that's always fun um,
Ah,
but I'm hoping like continue my following and all of that so that hopefully one day it will lead to something like voiceover acting or whatever it may be because that'd be awesome.
awesome. Okay, so my last question for you is, and this is the big one.
Okay,
So you ready? You
I'm
ready for
ready. I'm
this?
ready. Hit me.
Okay. So what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to cosplay but is kind of unsure where to start?
Sure. I love this question because I get asked this question all the time. It's one of my favorites. I feel like for any new cosplayer out there, you first of all, if you're thinking about doing it and don't know, just do it because your life will be so much better. And also, I feel like start with a character that you really like and that means a lot to you because it will if you're creating a cosplay for that character because you care so much about it it will kind of steer you in the right direction to making a really good cosplay and maybe doing something that you didn't know you were capable of like oh I didn't know I could like put together something that's amazing but because it was something you really cared about you just did it. So yeah I would say start with a character you really love or care about because you always get good results with that.
Yeah, yeah. And as we've kind of mentioned, guys, don't panic if you don't necessarily know how to sew. That
Oh yeah,
chances are you might know somebody in your life that does know how to sew, like I do.
absolutely.
Um, and if you're not so good at makeup, vice versa, you might find somebody who's good at makeup.
Yeah,
Um, or if it's something that you want to learn, I'm pretty sure that you can find somebody who can teach you really easily. Like I
yeah.
was very fortunate. Like I mentioned, I don't know how to sew, but I know somebody who does and who can
Uh-huh.
make really awesome costumes.
Yeah,
Um, the one thing I do know and I've had training in is how to apply stage makeup.
yeah.
So I was very, very fortunate there that I knew that.
And then you can kind of do like an exchange, like, hey, I'll do your makeup if you help me with my costume.
Well, sadly, this person wasn't going, but yeah, you could do that. You could
You
do
can,
that.
I mean, you could.
Your skills can be applicable anywhere.
Yeah.
So now this is a part of the interview where I like to turn over to my guests so that they can tell us absolutely everything that we need to know if we want to get a hold of them on social media. So, Chris, where can we get a hold of you on social media if we want to get a hold of you?
Okay, well, for a lot of my cosplay oriented stuff, you can go on my Instagram, which is just at Chris Villain. I've also started doing kind of like a new type of video on my YouTube channel where I do cosplay tips and that sort of thing. So you can follow me on YouTube as well. You can just search Chris Villain. And then on Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat, all that stuff, I'm just Chris Villain. So
Awesome.
feel
So
free.
don't worry, guys. There will be links to them. I think they're like down there in the description. Do you see them there in the description somewhere? Like they're like way down there. Oh, yep, there they are. Like down there in the description, guys.
There.
Also, don't forget to give this video a big like. You know, like we like our likes. And not only that, but oh look, there it is. No, it's not. It's over here. It's a subscribe button. You know,
Well,
give it a little tickle.
there we go.
And also don't forget to check out Chris's channel. He does some amazing videos, like amazing music videos, which I'm probably going to talk his ear off about after this, as well as following him on his other social medias. If you want, you can pop a question for him in this channel, oh, well, sorry, in this chat even, and I'm sure either myself or Chris, as soon as we can. Just want to take this opportunity to thank Chris for taking the time out and spending
You.
it with us. Maybe we'll have him back in a future video. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I've been Jai452. He's been Chris Fallon. And this has been Inside Cosplay. And we'll be joining you again with another one real soon. Bye, guys.
See ya.